At the beginning of the 90s, the situation of the Sahel countries in Africa, i.e. of the vast belt skirting the Sahara Desert, is still very critical. The great droughts, such as the one of 1973 or that of 1984-86, have been survived, paying a dramatic price in terms of human lives and possibilities of development. Hundreds of thousands of dead, whole populations, often with a wealthy history and culture, forced to abandon the land where they had lived for generations, and to swell the number of persons eking out a wretched existence in the peripheries of the big cities. Progressive advance of the desert, submerging everything, fields, towns, lake and riverbeds. The last few years have brought a little rain, but unfortunately the situation is still extremely serious and the risk of a fresh crisis is always lurking. At moments of emergency, all that can be done is to send relief. But now is the time not to forget the Sahel, but to think in terms of the future, of development, of confrontation with the 21st century. While in the Sahel the lack of rainfall and the drying up of the rivers and springs makes water the most precious and the rarest form of wealth, the situation is the exact opposite when we come further south, into the heart of the African continent. The vast basin of the river Zaire, also called the Congo, is instead the realm of the forests of punctual, abundant rainfall, which provides natural irrigation for enormous tracts with the formation of myriads of streams, rivers and lakes. A large part of this water, in flows that are often impetuous, making navigation difficult, finds its way into the river Zaire, which at the end of its course empties an immense mass of fresh water into the Atlantic Ocean, the second largest amount in the world after that of the Amazon. The distance between the arid, sandy stretches of the Sahel and the overabundance of water in the Zaire regions is 1,500–2,000 kilometers. This is a great distance, but it is not insuperable. If we could succeed in transferring to the Sahel even just 5% of the water that the river Zaire sends, unused, into the Atlantic, the entire scenario would be radically changed and fresh hopes of a livable future would open up for a population of millions of persons. It is on the basis of this consideration that as long ago as the early 80s, the leading Italian consulting engineering company, Bonifica, conceived the idea of Transaqua, an idea of South-South cooperation to save a Sahel region and to open up new possibilities of development for Africa in the 21st century. Transaqua is a new development prospect that directly concerns 6 African countries and indirectly over a quarter of the entire continent.
Very briefly, Transaqua is a waterway or canal about 2,400 kilometers long, crossing the upper part of the basin of the river Zaire, crossing along its course a number of tributaries of the river, receiving their waters and conveying them northwards to the Lake Chad basin. Transaqua is proposed as an artificial canal capable of fertilizing a huge area around Lake Chad, the focal point of the Sahel. The discharge of this canal will be about double that of the Nile. To have an idea of what this means, the irrigable area in the Sahel will be some 5 to 6 million hectares, against the 3 million hectares irrigated by the Nile, which feed 40 million Egyptians today.
The 6 key countries are the 4 that border on Lake Chad, namely Nigeria, Niger, Chad and Cameroon, together with the Central African Republic and naturally Zaire. The objectives that can be achieved are many and include taking water from a region where there is an overabundance of it to an arid region, creating a way of communication enabling regions that are difficult to reach but which possess great economic potential to be developed, to be linked up, producing a large quantity of low-cost electricity, restoring an ecological balance at continental scale, which the progressive disappearance of Lake Chad is disrupting. Lake Chad, bordering on these 4 countries and at the very heart of the Sahel, has for long been regarded as a veritable inland sea. It is important in the first place for the populations living around it as an essential reserve of fish and irrigation water. then it is important for the whole of north-central Africa, as it is the main bastion of defense against the encroachment of the desert, due to the microclimate that it generates. It is important in reality for the whole planet, as it is one of the pieces of the jigsaw of the world's ecological balance, and not only because so many species of migratory birds from Europe come here to spend the winter. But Lake Chad is drying up. As these satellite images show, its area has shrunk in the last 30 years from 25,000 square kilometers to approximately 2,500. In the face of the phenomena of these dimensions, the significance of the Transaqua prospect becomes clear. The Sahel needs water, more water than the uncertain amount that can be supplied by rainfall, when there is any.